channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. If you aren't prepping, like your life depends on it, like the collapse is going to happen tomorrow, I don't know what to tell you all, because right now we're on the verge and we're definitely heading to an economic collapse like Venezuela or Argentina. At best, it could be worse than that. Or we're heading to World War III, possibly both. So if you aren't prepping now, like your life depends on it, then I don't know what to tell you all, because your life does depend on it. You have to get off your rear end and you have to start prepping now. There's no more time to waste. There's no more time to sit around hoping, thinking that someone's going to get elected to change the political outcome, going to change the economy, going to change something with some election, some official, some vote is going to fix anything, because at this point it is not. We are collapsing. The United States of America is no longer the way that you once knew it. It is crashing. Our economy is crashing. Our government is corrupt. We are heading to an economic collapse like Venezuela. We're heading to extreme poverty and starvation, World War III, quite possibly, and most likely economic collapse and World War III. So stop sitting around, stop keeping your finger up your ear, as the saying goes, and doing nothing. Do something. Get out and prepare. Get serious about this. Stop just watching YouTube videos and keeping your fingers crossed, hoping that things are going to get better, because they're not. We are in a serious situation. They're trying to downplay the situation, but it's very, very serious. We are heading to an economic collapse. It's a certainty. World War III is a certainty. We are heading towards both. Economic collapse is going to be horrendous. There's going to be extreme poverty, there's going to be hunger, there's going to be supply chain issues. World War III could possibly go nuclear, most likely it will, so who knows what's going to happen. And if you aren't prepping, like your life depends on it, like I said, because it does, then there's something mentally wrong with you. If you're sitting here watching YouTube videos hoping that things are going to get better somehow, wishful thinking that Jesus is going to come back and save you before anything bad really happens, you're delusional. It's going to happen. You're going to suffer. Guys, the deep state, the globalists, the corrupt Biden regime are doing everything they possibly can to get a war started with someone. They have tried to bait Russia into starting World War III, where the United States actually the one starting World War III, or trying to poke until they get it started, but they want to be able to blame someone else. That's why we always have these false flag events. They've been poking Russia every way they can poke Russia. They've been poking Putin, trying to get this war started, trying to get Putin to strike, to do something to get this war started with the United States and NATO. They want this war. It's not working. So now they're trying to poke China, and they're outright saying they're going to be a war with China by 2025, I think it was. It was someone said the other day, I think it was a congressman or a senator or something like that. I think it might be a Republican. Can't remember the name. If you do, put it in the description box below. He said we're already at war with China, a Cold type war. We have been in economic war for a long time, and they are winning. They're putting together the BRICS nations to crash the dollar even further. And we also have our own corrupt government, and it's been that way through the Republicans and the Democrats, but the last few years it has been horrendous at the spending that they have done. Spend, spend, spend. And it's not a few $1 million. It is a few $100 billion. It is trillions of dollars. And when they put that much money, that much currency into the system, what's that make? Inflation. And the more they put into it, the more inflation they're going to have. We're seeing that now. It's going to get worse. We're seeing these bank collapses, massive debt, bank collapses. Everything is crashing. If you can't see that, then I don't know what to tell you all, because it is definitely crashing. The economy is crashing. We're going the way of Venezuela. They're trying to get World War III started because they want to have these war powers. They want to be able to declare martial law over the country. And guys, like I said, they are trying to get World War III started. They want this economic collapse. That's why they keep spending with seemingly no fault to any responsibility as far as the spending goes. It's just billions and billions and billions of dollars. They want this thing to crash. They want the economy to crash. They want World War III to start. That way they can step in and give themselves more power. They can declare martial law. It's all about getting more and more power. And then they'll come with a new centralized CBDC, the full globalist agenda implemented here in the United States. And that's why they want this to happen. They want this war because they want to be able to gain more power, more emergency powers. That's what it's all about. Now guys, unfortunately, there's not much you can do as far as preparing for a nuclear strike. If it's all a nuclear war, more than likely most people are going to perish. There'll be some survivors if you are set up, if you have a deep dug in fallout shelter and nuclear blast is it, you aren't at ground zero, then you quite possibly could survive. However, if it's all at nuclear war with the United States, Russia and China, for example, I mean, it's going to be absolutely devastating. Do what you can, prepare the best you can. If you have a basement, try to prepare it the best you can, stockpile it the best you can. If you have a root cellar on your property, do that. If you have all kinds of currency to spend, invest that in building an underground, secure, fallout bomb shelter. However, just economically, talk about the economic ramifications. Like I said a minute ago, the economy is crashing. The dollar is crashing. We're seeing inflation now. That's going to go into a hyperinflationary type scenario. Also, if you have war on top of that, you're going to have more supply chain issues. It always happens though, more supply chain issues. It's going to be a lot worse now than it was in World War II, because the United States now, we outsource everything and import everything. We don't really make nothing here besides currency and war. So look for really, really deep supply chain issues, huge price increases, and poverty, misery. It's going to be bad. That's why you need to prepare now. I've been preaching this stuff for years, and I knew it was coming, and right now I think we're right here at the door. We're on the cusp of all this falling apart. And they want it to fall apart. That's why it's falling apart. But guys, if you thought that the supply chain issues were bad during the COVID pandemic, it's going to be much, much worse if World War III breaks out. I mean, China pretty much produces everything. The United States produces very, very little. All we produce is currency and war and weapons. Other than that, we don't produce anything really. If you want to know what China produces, go look at Walmart. Go look at any department store. Pretty much everything in there. All the electronics, pretty much everything comes from China or is connected to China or Taiwan. The microchips, I think it was 90% of the microchips that supply the world comes from Taiwan. And we all know the war with China will be over Taiwan. So those chips will be cut off. The supply chain from China will be cut off. All those huge shipping containers coming across the United States, cut off. You're going to pretty much have nothing. And it takes time to start producing these things, and it takes parts, it takes electronics to make these machines, to get the machines to work correctly, and we don't have it here in the United States. The power grid could go down, water purification could go down because of supply chain issues, food distribution could go down. Everything is connected to pretty much China and Taiwan as far as the supply chain here in the United States goes, and much of the world. Plus, World War III, when it breaks out, is it going to be just between the United States and China? It's going to be between the United States, China, Russia, North Korea, Iran. It's going to be a world war. So you thought the supply chain issues was bad during the COVID pandemic? It's going to be much, much worse if World War III breaks out. So we'll be dealing with war. We'll be dealing with economic collapse and hyperinflation. We'll be dealing with severe, deep supply chain issues. And that's why it's extremely important to prepare, to be prepared. Prep like your life depends on it. If you have a spare bedroom in your home, stock that full. If you have junk stored in that room, clean all that junk out, sell it if you can, get some extra currency to buy food with, and fill that room to the top, from the back all the way to the front, to the top, all the way up to the sides, full of food. You can't have too much food because you're going to have to eat. It's better if you can build ways to rotate that and everything, but right now just worry about getting that food, because I think time is definitely limited. I know economic collapse is coming. Hyperinflation is coming. We're already in inflation right now. Once you look at these bank runs, you look at all the spending, you look at the federal debt, the state debt, the local debt, the individual debt. We're a nation drowning in debt. They know this, and like I said, they want to crash this economy because they want to come in and bring the solution. And the solution is the central bank digital currencies. They want to have World War III, where they can step in and say, we have full power, full martial law now, because we're in this war type situation, economic collapse type situation. So we have to have these emergency powers, full dictator powers here in the United States. Can you imagine Joe Biden being a dictator? He pretty much already is. He's a dickhead right now. But imagine him being a dictator, having full, complete power. Right now, they're already exercising far more power than they actually have with their executive pen. They go to war without the approval of Congress. They go to war through false flag type of events. We're pretty much already living under a dictatorship. But after economic collapse, hyperinflation, World War III breaks out, we'll be in a military type dictatorship, martial law, for the United States. They will take all resources, including human resources. They can make you into a slave if they want. It's in the literature. It's in the laws they've passed in the past. A lot of these laws was passed after 9/11. It's all, they would set it up then to get it all ready. And they have control of all resources, including human resources, which means you and I. Full resources. If they say they need you to go work at some kind of slave camp, pretty much what it boiled down to, they can do that. You have no rights no more. The Constitution, gone. They can make you into a slave, and that's what they want. They put this in place already, these laws and things in place already, these emergency powers, and they will gain these emergency powers during economic collapse, hyperinflationary event, and World War III, and that's the goal. That's why they keep pushing Russia. That's why they keep pushing China. That's why they keep pushing someone, because they want this war to break out. And they don't want it to look like that they're the bad guy. NATO does it. The United States does it. They want to be able to say it was Russia. It was China that threw the first blow. Russia that threw the first blow. So we're going to have to retaliate. We have no other choice whatsoever besides this war and this full power here in the United States, this full martial law here in the U.S., where they own everything, all resources, including human resources, which means you and I, they can put you into slavery if they want to. The Constitution no longer applies, has no power whatsoever. Your rights has no power whatsoever. They can make you go out and dig a ditch all day long if they want to, and that's what the plan is. Full power. That's why they want this collapse. That's why they want this war. They want this full power structure, because they can come in and set up this globalist 2030 agenda. They know people will, if they come in and try to set this up, they get all they can now set up and put in place. However, they can get the full thing set in place, I don't think, without having economic collapse and World War III. And that's why they keep pushing this. So guys, it's definitely a scary situation, and all you can do is prepare. Prepare like your life depends on it. Prepare that the crash will happen tomorrow, because it may. They're trying their best to get this to happen. And it's going to happen. It is a certainty. Economic collapse is a certainty. Hyperinflation is a certainty. Economic collapse like Venezuela, Argentina, or worse is a certainty. World War III is a certainty in my opinion. I don't know if it's going to go nuclear or not. Hopefully it doesn't, but it definitely could. But it is a certainty. Economic collapse, hyperinflation, World War III is a certainty. So prepare for it. Stop messing around. Stop thinking that things are going to get better. Stop thinking you're going to elect someone to the White House. There's going to be this red wave and this bunch of bullshit I've heard here, and it's going to change anything. It's not going to change a thing. Pray and prepare. Take it to the rafters. Learn skills. Stockpile food. And I'm not talking about, MREs and things like that. If you can afford that and you want that, then get that. But if you can't, or you want to do it cheaply, and you should, go to the supermarket. Stock up on beans, rice, flour, cornmeal, canned foods, cooking oil, peanut butter, the things you normally eat that are shelf stable. Stock up on those as much as you possibly can. Fill the rooms full in your home. Fill under the bed. Fill the closets full. Stockpile it. Stop wasting time. Stop pretending things are going to get better. Stop pretending that someone's going to be elected to fix this, because it's not going to happen. It is crashing. Economic collapse, hyperinflation, World War III is a certainty. Prepare for it. If you don't, it's your own fault when you and your family suffer, because you know it's going to happen. You've been warned. All the signs point to it. It's happening right now. but it's going to continue to get worse and worse as time goes on. They don't want the economic collapse to happen real suddenly. They want it to be kind of controlled. What we're seeing now is these bank collapses. They want this war. Like I said, prepare, guys. Learn knowledge. Get books. Actual physical books about skills. Gardening, raising animals, stockpiling food, preserving food, hunting, fishing, trapping, medical. Gain as much skills as you possibly can. Get as much training now as you possibly can. Stockpile firearms, ammunition, spare magazines, reloading supplies, cleaning supplies, first aid supplies. Stockpile antibiotics. Figure out a way to get it. Stockpile it. Your medications that you need. Stockpile it. Figure out a way to get those. If you can't, try to figure out how you can get off of those. Not medical advice, just common sense. Getting better health, getting better shape. Try to get off those medications. Get your health in order as much as you possibly can. Your security. Look at your property. How can I get this more secure? What can I do to make my property more secure? Harden your doors, harden your windows, harden your property. Have early warning devices set in place. Have camera systems set up, alarm systems set up, a good guard dog set up, watchdogs set up, guinea fowl, whatever. You want to have advanced warning when someone comes on your property. Have a bug out plan set in place. Hopefully you can stay in your current home, your location, and actually bug in, but you might need to bug out. You never know how things are going to go. Have a plan to bug out. And I'm not talking about running into the woods behind your house. I'm talking about having a place away from your home, because if you're having to bug out, you're having to escape a disaster or something going on right there where you are. Get out of there. Have a plan to get from point A, which is where you are now, to point B. And you want that to be a pretty good distance away from your home, because you're going to be trying to escape whatever threat is causing you to have to leave, to have to evacuate your home. Know where you're going to go to. If you can, already have it set up. Have things packed up where you can load those up quickly to get out if need be. Have several different routes predetermined to get to that point. Have your family, your group know where that point is, how to get there. If it's a really long distance away, you might want to store items along the way in secure locations, because you might have to resupply. And your family member might be somewhere where they can't get those supplies. They might be at college, they might be off somewhere at work, and they might have to come in and go without having a lot of supplies. They can pack some things in their trunk, to keep warm, to keep fed, to keep hydrated. But if it's a long distance and you can have supplies along the way and know where those supplies are cached at, that's definitely a good idea. But you want to have communications set up with your family, with your neighbors if you can, your close neighbors, the good neighbors. Plan. Have an emergency preparedness plan in place to evacuate, to get with your neighbors, to get with your family. If nothing else, just have a predetermined meeting place for you and your family to all meet up at in case something happens. You never know. You need to have these things predetermined. You don't need to be trying to figure these things out on the fly. You want to have everything already set in place, because you're trying to make decisions when things are happening. You have emotions, you have everything going on, and it's easy to make mistakes. You don't want to make mistakes. You want to have everything situated, everything predetermined, all the locations predetermined, everyone know where they are, how to get there, alternative ways to get there. Have emergency preparedness plan. Bug in first, have that plan set in place. If you need to, plan to bug out. But hopefully, bugging out won't be necessary. Hopefully, you can stay at your home, your bug in location, and use those supplies, those stockpiles you have, use that security you put in place, and put in ways to resupply your own food and grow as big of a garden as you possibly can where you are. You might want to put in, raised beds, a greenhouse. You might want to plant directly in the ground if you have good soil. Get some chickens, get some rabbits, learn how to hunt, learn how to fish, learn how to trap. Get some books on this if you don't know already, but build your skills. Build your self-reliance on your own property, because it's extremely important, because supplies do run out. And the more self-reliant that you are, the more or less reliant you are on the government. And be able to defend yourself. Hopefully you never have to fire a firearm at another individual, but more than likely, the way it's going, you probably will. Be prepared for that mentally, physically, and be trained for that. Know how to use your firearm to the best efficiency that can possibly use that. You want to be proficient. You want to be excellent shot. You want to be able to shoot and move. You want to be able to change those magazines. You want to be able to do it while still calm. Have your mental focused. where if your life's in danger, if you are threatened, that you can stay calm, you can remain relaxed, you can actually squeeze that trigger, get that shot off, put that shot on target. You don't want to be completely, when you're trying to defend yourself, you want to be able to relax, get that sight picture, and squeeze that trigger back. Put that shot where it needs to go to. Because your life depends on it, just like this prepping. Your life depends on you prepping. Because, like I said, to start the video, economic collapse, hyperinflation, World War III is a certainty. It is coming. And guys, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. It helps out a lot because I want these videos to get to more people. More people can get prepared to get ready, because the more people who prepare and get ready, the easier it's going to be for everyone. If you want to learn more about prepping, survival, if you like this type of video, and you should, be sure to subscribe. If you don't like this channel, subscribe to someone else's channel. Follow them, but learn all the skills you possibly can. Buy physical books, because the internet could go down. The power grid could go down. You want to have physical books to be able to look at that physical book. If you don't like my books, I have 5 books out right now. But if you don't like my books, buy someone else's books. Get skills, get knowledge, learn from those books. Don't just buy those books, put those on the shelf and not read those and do that. Skill. The best way to learn skills is hands-on and someone teaching you. The next best way is through books and videos and hands-on. You have to have hands-on. You can read about gardening all you want. You can learn some things about gardening. But to become a master gardener, to be able to produce your own food, you have to actually get your hands in the soil and get dirty. You can read about and watch videos about using firearms for self-defense. You can pick up a few things and learn a few things. However, there's nothing like actually taking that firearm in hand, pulling that trigger, taking that training, actually doing the things you're trying to learn. Hands-on learning is extremely important. So get physical books. Like I said, if you want my books, they're available on Amazon.com. Just search for MD Creekmore. Get those books. Get other people's books also. Get books about homesteading, gardening, preserving, hunting. If you don't like my books, get someone else's. Subscribe to the channel. If you don't like this channel, subscribe to someone else's channel. But do everything you can to prepare. I want you to prepare. Even if you don't watch my videos, if you don't buy my books, I still want you to get prepared. I want you to survive. I don't want you and your family to suffer. But at least, give the video a thumbs up and watch this next video right over here to learn some more skills. Thanks for watching. I'm MD Creekmore out here, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.